Now to part of the fallout from COVID-19. We have been reporting about scammers getting Social Security numbers, then using them to apply for unemployment, even if you're still employed. On this Hour 18, we have learned those scammers are working overtime, draining people's bank accounts. CBS 2's Chris Tye is always investigating and joins us live with this new spike in cases that are fleecing Illinois. Chris?
Marie, historic levels of fraud. That is how sources are describing what scammers are doing in the state of Illinois. The raw tonnage is jaw-dropping, as we all know. When there are moments of crisis like the country's seeing right now, millions of Americans get entangled in these kinds of messes. The problem we're hearing from Illinoisans is that the state isn't doing a sufficient job to get them untangled.
I was quite surprised.
It's very frustrating.
One city, one suburbs, victims of one curious scheme growing at lightning speed.
I know it's big. IDES told me it was big.
How big? Sources inside the Illinois Department of Employment Security tell CBS 2 the spike has been huge since October. It starts with scammers getting a hold of your basic information.
They had to get my Social Security number from someplace.
At least knew where I worked.
With that, they apply for unemployment benefits in your name that come in the form of debit cards loaded with state money. But two problems here. Number one,
I was quite surprised because I have been working steadily.
Neither are out of work. And two,
I'll tell you, I don't think I fired myself recently, so.
Craig is a part owner of his company. So when the state reached out to confirm his termination, he told them,
I think there's an error here in frauds.
Even though he didn't fire himself, that debit card arrived in his mailbox anyway. Susan, too.
This is a very leaky ship, and nobody's figured out how to plug all the holes in it yet.
Those holes showing up all over. In Naperville, cases reported to police tripling in the last month, 450 of them in November, 1,400 this year. This is just the tip of the Park Ridge iceberg, a dozen similar identity theft cases every week. In Lake of the Hills, unemployment fraud has hit 51 people in the last month, Glenview, 42 cases. The city of McHenry also warning their residents.
Who knows where the breach came from.
And since the real people, not the scammers, are ending up with these cards, there's concern a larger scam may be in the works.
I don't know who's benefiting from this scheme.
What they do know, alerting the state hasn't been easy.
Being a person who lives in the 21st century, I wondered, why was there no way for me to file this online?
Said you can only have one call in there at a time.
As they wait for return calls, new cases mount, and victims with debit cards they never asked for wonder if there's another shoe yet to drop.
Well, it's a pretty high level of frustration.
So how can I stop the train?
After days of asking, just late today, the state's attorney general reaching out to CBS 2, telling us that since July, there have been 4,000 calls into their office with these kinds of problems, and Marie, 800 written requests for help. They are continuing to try to work through it.
Wow, that's a huge number. Chris, when they're looking at all of these cases, laying them out, do you know if investigators are seeing any sort of pattern among who is being targeted with this?
Yeah, we asked that. Are we seeing certain zip codes, certain ages, people with the same letter of the first letter of their last name? No, it's young, it's old, it's suburban, it's urban. They are seeing it across the spectrum. The only kind of micro changes they're seeing is that in the spring and summer, they saw a lot of folks who were actually unemployed being the targets. Now it's a lot of folks who are gainfully employed being the targets. I asked the governor just late last week what's going on to try and solve this in a more robust way. He says they are trying to bring more people on to try to solve these problems, but many we talked with say it's taking weeks to get an answer from the state.
Chris Tye live for us in Naperville tonight. Thank you so much, Chris.